Ryan Clark.
I've had a couple of days to digest the election, and right afterwards, I put out a tweet saying that I respect President Trump as the president and his office. And there was a lot of pushback from my community on social. I voted for Kamala Harris, but it reminded me of how divisive this country had gotten, how divisive this election had gotten.
Let's pause here. The former Pittsburgh Steeler, a Super Bowl champion, former member of the Washington football team, current NFL analyst with ESPN, and also lead host on the Pivot podcast, was referring to this tweet that he put out, which we'll read together. One of the beautiful things about America is democracy. Many have fought and died for our right to choose our leadership. I was blessed to exercise that right again in 2024. The majority has spoken, and Donald Trump is our president. I will respect him and his office as such. A lot to get to. First, more from Clark.
When did the side that candidate won feel like they won the Super Bowl? When did they brag about it? When did they boast about it? When did they throw it in your face because it was just their guy, not our guy? Or on the other side, the sadness, the depression, people truly thinking about this not being a place that they could live.
Let's pause once more. In my view, it's really not that difficult.
And one other thing I'll be doing very early in the administration is closing up the Department of Education.
For example, closing the Department of Education is a disaster waiting to happen that will affect countless lives in this country via chalkbeat. The U.S. Department of Education does a lot of things, like monitor school performance and promote evidence-based practices. Its biggest K-12 programs by dollar amount provide money to high-poverty schools for students with disabilities. Some of its most high-profile and controversial work involves enforcing civil rights protections. Hit the target emoji right there. That is what this is about. The department also plays a major role in distributing financial aid for higher education. So that is one thing that they want to eradicate. What else?
The left-wing gender insanity being pushed on our children is an act of child abuse. Very simple.
There's the subject of trans youth and trans citizens in the country that they have been fixated on because it's something they could run with and get elected for. It is based purely in fear-mongering, nothing more. Trump has pledged to impose wide-ranging restrictions and roll back civil rights protections for trans students, and his administration can swiftly start work on one major change. It can exclude trans students from Title IX protections, which affect school policies on students' use of pronouns, bathrooms, and locker rooms, wrote the Associated Press. And let me tell you something. Trans youth are terrified, and we have failed them. There's more reporting from the AP, which noted the Rainbow Youth Project, a group that serves LGBTQ plus young people, received more than 5,500 calls to its crisis hotline in the past 10 days, up from 3,700 calls it typically gets every single month. He has also pandered to evangelicals on the subject of abortion. And many will say, oh, well, I live in a blue state. I live in California. I live in New York. I live in Illinois. I'm protected. No, you're not. That is why everyone's saying that, oh, he's going to send it back to the states. It's going to the states. It's a lie. It's a blatant lie that he ran on in order for you to say, no, he's actually not that bad. He is. Elizabeth Smith, the director of state policy at the Center for Reproductive Rights, spoke with ABC saying this: I don't think that people know that a federal abortion ban would preempt state constitutional protection. There could also be this sense that I'm voting yes on this amendment, and that means my state is fine. A federal abortion ban, if the United States Supreme Court allowed it to take effect, would preempt the policy of a state where abortion is legal and accessible. We don't yet know which party controls the House, but that is a possibility. Well, we do now, and it's Republicans. So when Clark says, I can't believe people want to leave, look at what's happening around us, man. Look at it. Like, I will not shade anybody for exercising that right, whether it's seeking asylum in another country or simply just wanting to get the hell out of here. Because we have seen through history where this is going. Look at who he is putting in charge. They are going to, as Elon Musk basically put it, intentionally wreck the economy, and the economy is going to be terrible and people are going to suffer, but we'll be fine. In his words, of course. Don't take anything he says as in that being the truth. Everything he says, take with a grain of salt. This is a man who came from apartheid South Africa, came from riches of an emerald mine, is not a founder of Tesla, just overthrew those so he could say that he was a founder. I believe he did the same with Twitter as well. I mean, he has a government position along with Vivek Ramaswamy. They have put, Kristi Noem is in there for being a loyalist. Pete Hegseth is in there because he's a loyalist. Stephen Miller is going to deport countless people because of the color of their skin, also going to wreck the economy. They use Springfield, Ohio as the pipeline to hate these people when we shouldn't. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is going to be in charge of this CDC and the FDA. And while some of the things that he says sounds very sweet, know that this man is bought and paid for. He can go off of his record of saying, I sued these people, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter if you're in a Trump administration. It just doesn't, because they don't care. So again, I see people's rights being taken away. I see them targeting the marginalized. I see them targeting women. I see someone like Josh Hawley, who is a MAGA stooge, saying, yes, I am a Christian nationalist, and I want the United States to be a Christian nationalist nation. Hello? Ring those alarm bells. I can't shade anybody for doing that. However, more from Clark.
We elected someone that ran a campaign based in bigotry and based in hate. And for those 4 years, it wasn't great. In 2016, I remember someone sitting in that office calling people that peacefully protested sons of bitches. And then 2020, in his last year, it wasn't about just COVID to me. It was the most divided this country had ever been. And then I would have people tell me, well, he pardoned Kodak. Yeah, he pardoned your favorite rappers, so he became your favorite rapper's favorite politician.
Let's pause here. We've been divided for a very, 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 very long time. There was never this, cohesion, this unity that so many of us think existed. And I know many will say, oh, well, post 9/11, we all came together and we wanted to fight the war on terrorism. Turns out that was a lie that they used in order to build up their the bank accounts of the military-industrial complex. They sold us a lie, and there were very few in government who opposed it. And you should go and look up who they were, because as it turns out, many years later, they were right. Countless people died. But stateside, you know who really didn't feel the unity? Brown people, Muslims. Whether they were going to a Yankee game, riding the subway, trying to exist in public life. No. I don't buy this. 2020 was the most divided we've ever been. No, man. I just don't buy it. I just don't. And yet, when I look at it, reflecting on Clark's post when he goes over the topic of Kodak, I would throw Lil Wayne in there. It was very clear, because we have also seen the history of allegations of a quid pro quo. Trump is the mobster businessman who plays by his own rules and knows, if I do something for you, you better do something for me. So they stump for him. They go to Mar-a-Lago. They take pictures with him. They give him the thumbs up. They endorse him. It is a simple transaction, in my view. So it's really no surprise to me.
Does that make us forget that 4 black boys and 1 brown boy who didn't commit a crime, he took an ad out for them to receive the death penalty? And even when they were exonerated, he doubled down on it. And what's changed in this campaign? It's still the same sort of bigotry. It's still the same sort of speech. I think now the difficult part is I do understand that not everyone that supports him believes in his rhetoric. Not everyone that supports him thinks bigotry is okay. For me, I'll give him that grace because I do want salvation for all people. It's going to be forever hard to respect the man, and I don't, and I won't, but I will respect the office.
He would end with this. I want to be a sane man in an insane society, so I won't be divisive. But I do hope for all of our sakes that he understands that he's our president. He does not, Ryan. Come on. Come on. We not only have 4 years, we have 78 years of who this man is and how he takes advantage of people. I am shocked and amazed because I feel like this is like a centrist position, which I know that he is not, but he should know that he's our president. Oh, he does. That's why he's going to abuse his powers at every turn. That's why those, albeit poor safeguards like a Bill Barr or a Milley or others, they're not there anymore. So what I see is a revenge tour. What I see is him weaponizing different agencies that he simply wants to exist and others that he wishes to get to kick rocks and eradicate altogether. Like, where is this sentiment coming from? Because I'm hearing it and I'm seeing it over and over again with people being like, well, you know, he says a lot of things, but it doesn't mean he's going to go forward with it. Bull. He said that last time because some of the worst people had that much of a shred of decency and a moral compass to stop it. But they're not there anymore. They're not. So I'm sorry. What do you expect? If you can and are willing, please become a paid member here at TYT Sports. And or go to tyt.com/join. In addition, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate it. Have a great day.